You guys see my slideshow here?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope this is the correct slideshow. Okay. I'm going to spend like 10 to 15 minutes on some motivation topics. Um, Ed, I know that you're motivated, but this will probably be a good review. And Nate, you've done at least one try before, and it sounds like you're athletic, so probably won't be a big stretch. But since there's just three of us, why don't you tell me why you're here? It's Nate, it's not your first triathlon. Is it bucket list, stress relief? You're doing it with family? Do you have friends who do it with you? Are you just looking to get back into the sport? Um, if you want Ed to go first, he's probably a little more prepared to share.
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hi Nate. I'm here because I used to run a long time ago, and this was like one of those things that I never actually accomplished. And uh, so I finally decided that it was time for me to check this one off the list, and so that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So bucket list and first triathlon.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
How about you, Nate?
Yeah, I had, I'll be honest, after having our first child and just busyness with work, kind of got out of the exercising routinely and um, just kind of, yeah, feeling motivated to get back to some semblance of, you know, uh, health and fitness and yeah, it's a lot of life transitions right now and trying to,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, kind of just regain some of those areas. But like I said, I'm pretty unpracticed, and yeah, I enjoy the endurance aspect of training, and
Yeah.
so
Nice. Cool. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm kind of similar to you. I don't have any, hopefully I'm done with all the major life transitions, but I just like to a goal to stay active, and I enjoy the three sports and I enjoy the people that I meet, and I feel really great every time I finish one. Just the fact that I am crossing the finish line, and then if I can improve along the way, so much the better. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody else who's popping in. So we just did this. Hello, my name is, and this is my goal. We'll go past this. So you guys are probably familiar with this, the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic goals. So studies have shown that people who have the intrinsic goals, something that's internally motivating you, are more likely to accomplish their goals and to stay with their routines than people with extrinsic goals. And I think it's important because sometimes extrinsic goals um, can be motivating. Like you're doing it because your buddy signed up and there's some peer pressure, or you're doing it because your parents said you'd never add up to anything, so you want to prove them wrong, right? It's something outside of your internal control. And that's motivating to an extent. And if that works for you, that's great. There's no right or wrong. When things get really tough, it's usually the people that have intrinsic motivation for accomplishing something that helps people get through times when they're less motivated or when things are challenging to work in. They're more likely to make it a priority if it's an intrinsic goal. And just like a t-shirt, your goal should be the right size for you. So Ed, I know this is something that you're sort of dealing with right now. And Nate, I'm curious, did you tell me which distance you signed up for, Nate?
sorry, helps I take mute off.
No
I
problem.
signed up for the Olympic
Okay.
distance.
And you've done one Olympic before, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Yeah. So, there's these are like three major levels. Completing, I just went across the finish line, and it doesn't have to be your first. That can still be your goal if it's your fifth or your 10th. You just want to complete it. Competing, this could be competing against yourself, your prior uh, times, either for the triathlon as a whole or for any one of the three sports. And contending is you're competing against other people and you really want to do well, like get on the podium. And even that can have a range of sizes. You don't want to get on the podium at a local race to you. You want to get on the podium at the state championships, which this fall, the Mighty Moraine Man is the Pennsylvania State Championship for USA Triathlon. So that's pretty cool. Or do you want to get on the podium at nationals? And for most people, there's sort of this escalating scale where, they finish their first race, they fall in love with it, they want to improve, and so they start competing with themselves. And not everybody makes this next step, but if that person is finding that they're, doing well against people in their age group, well, then they want to start, placing in their age group. And, it just sort of escalates from there all the way up to nationals and world. So different size goals for everybody. There's no right size. So whatever is the right size for you is the right goal for you. It's easy to be sort of, well, for me anyway, it's easy to be influenced by other people's goals and say, oh, well, maybe I should be trying to do that, especially when you're new and you're not really sure what all the options are. So there's a lot of exposure, talking to other people. So always come back and make sure that you're listening to, yourself and your intuition, and making a good decision for you. And it's okay to change your goals too as you go along. So like I said, there's no right or wrong goal, but these are examples of goals that are rarely the right size for anyone. And I've talked to people like this. I've had athletes approach me wanting me to coach them because they want to go to the Olympics. And that's really, really, really hard to do. Not that someone who's doing their first triathlon wouldn't have the potential, but it's usually a lifelong, years long pathway to make it to even compete to be on the Olympic team. Trying to podium on your first race. That's usually not a great goal, not because you might not be fit enough or fast enough, but just because you don't know who's going to show up. You've never done a race. You're not sure what to expect. And if, the guy who's working towards being on the Olympic team shows up for your local race, well, you're not going to win against that person. So it's better to sort of get the lay of the land and find out what your local competition is like, what individuals are, about the same speed as you, can be motivating for you to either train with or talk about goals or compare yourself with, either silently or publicly, but not for your first race. And then a lot of people do this. They sign up for an Ironman before they know if they even enjoy this sport. So I guess it's not wrong because a lot of people do it, but it's not a great goal if you don't even know if you like the sport. Usually the people that do that have such strong internal motivators to accomplish something really challenging, or, maybe they do have a friend who's done it and they really, really, really want to do the same thing their friend is doing. Again, it's not a wrong goal, but these people usually have a different sort of deep-seated desire to push themselves really, really far. And I don't know the statistics, but I've talked to plenty of people. If they've set their mind on it, most of them usually do it because they're so motivated by that goal. So not a goal for everyone, but a lot of people do it. Just checking to make sure there's nobody else in the waiting room. So goals should stretch you and not crush you. Again, there have been studies that show people whose goals are just out of their comfort zone remain the most motivated. People whose goals are well within their comfort zone tend to fall off more. Again, when the process gets challenging, if time becomes a crunch, or you have to decide what your priorities are. If the goal is not just outside of your comfort zone enough, it may not be motivating enough for you to make it a priority. If it's too far beyond your comfort zone, then it's easy to just give up and say, oh, well, that was unrealistic anyway. So these are some questions that you can kind of know, is my goal right for me? And like I said, you can change your goal and you can have variations of your goal as well. So what do you know you can do? So, and I'm going to call you out here.
Okay.
You can complete a sprint triathlon.
Yes.
Because you just did it. Yeah. So
Yes.
that may have been your goal 3 weeks ago, but through the process of your training, now you know you can do that. So that can stay your goal, but you can do it. And my guess is that you probably want to do something a little bit beyond that now that you can do it. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, so my plan now at this point is to try to run a Olympic length triathlon next week, Tuesday or Wednesday on my day off, just on my own, and evaluate, see where I'm at as far as, do I feel like I'm ready to run that race, or am I better sticking with the sprint triathlon? So that's just kind of what I'm doing to kind of like figure out where I'm at.
Yeah.
So Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I guess.
No, that makes total sense. And when I said before, do a little extra, I don't necessarily mean extra distance. The extra can be extra better. Like the one of the great things about triathlon is that you're balancing three sports. You have to
Hmm.
balance nutrition, you have to deal with the heat, you have to deal with a variety of courses. So
Hmm.
sometimes stretching yourself means paying more attention to your bike pace. Maybe you think you can go faster. If the run felt really easy, well, maybe I can push a little harder on the bike and have the run feel a little bit hard, but maybe make up more time overall. And
Yeah.
those are things that you just have to practice and try out.
Yeah. And I think I'm in the process of doing that. Like I did find the swim like super easy. Like I could probably push myself a little better on the swim.
Hmm.
And the bike, I kind of figured out like, oh, you capital because I've been only biking on really flat surfaces, and I hadn't thought about using hills as a strategy, like, really pushing on the downhill so that the uphill is a little easier, and
Yeah.
things like that. So
Yeah.
just a process of like connecting dots and finding ways to make it a little better, a little smoother, or a little bit more comfortable, or
Hmm.
take a little time off.
Hmm.
You know,
Awesome.
all sorts of like different like things for different reasons, right? Like
Yeah.
running across the beach and like finding yourself full of sand in your feet. Like, oh, I'm probably gonna have to figure out how to deal with that in transition so that I'm not miserable.
Yeah, I saw that on your little race report from your workout.
Yeah, and so just a, a lot of little things I saw as like potential things to improve,
Hmm.
but for different reasons, not just speed, but just for like overall comfort or enjoyability as well.
Yeah. Great. Nate, do you have any comments about what your goals might be for this Olympic?
Really just to get back to it and to see, yeah, maybe just where I'm lacking, more of like a demo. I do
Yeah.
have aspirations to, go further with this, not necessarily podium, but just more of like I don't know what should I say, self-development and just
Mhm.
kind of relearning myself,
Yeah.
or what I maybe knew myself to be. So, um, and I more, like I said, I was like bucket list, in my lifetime, I want to do an Ironman, or at least I think I do. But
Uh-huh.
again, I haven't done a triathlon in years,
Yeah.
and uh, you know, I kind of secretly have this. I enjoy kind of the some of the suffering, or I can sometimes find that space where you can dig deep, and uh, so
Mm,
I guess out of that though, there's a lot. It's more like the logistics that scares me.
mm.
Of the how do you
Transition and stuff.
put the markings on your body? How do you set this up in the
Yeah.
staging area? Like I have forgotten all of that stuff, or had somebody show me years ago, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Well,
and I just don't know that I've been putting in enough time either. So
yeah. I know what that feels like.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
well, in the fourth week of this series is the pre-race stuff, so we can talk about transition and body marking as well.
okay, awesome. I
Yeah.
I look forward to that. So
Great. And then I'll just say it out loud for anybody watching who learns by hearing. Um, if you're not sure if your goal is stretching you or not, you can ask yourself, what does this scare me? Does it scare me in the way that makes me kind of terrified and panicky? Or does it scare me in a way that feels kind of exciting, like going on a roller coaster? If you get that, this anxiety and excitement, it's the same hormone in your body. It's just a different perspective on that excitement level. And you need to have a little bit of excitement in order to, perform well, not only for your race, but also just for your whole training plan. You need to have some activation in order to get your gear ready to go out for a ride, or like Ed has been planning going up to Moraine and actually doing his training on the race course. You need energy to do that. So you need to have just enough motivation, which sometimes is fear-based, but you have to find that balance that works for you. And there's no requirement that your goal has to make you scared. You can be, in your comfort zone and just sort of be standing on the edge and, looking looking across the line and doing what you know you can do. That's a fine goal. Everybody's different. All right, so we've excuse me, the three of us talked about this already, but what we haven't talked about is kind of an ABC version of that. So the CCC is complete, compete, contend. Both of you guys, it sounds to me that you're kind of in the complete category. And that's not, it's not lesser than the others. It's just identifying where you are. And I like to have that term so that you don't compare yourself to somebody incorrectly. You know, if your best friend is going for a podium, you might think, oh, well, I should do that too. So it's nice to just be able to label where you are. But then within that, you know, ABC goals. So the A goal would like really be a stretch goal. You know, a B goal would be kind of like, this will be a great race if I do whatever. And then a C goal, well, if I don't accomplish those things, I'll still be satisfied if. And there's all sorts of variations of these. For a lot of more advanced athletes, these are often time-based. You know, I will be thrilled if I can run my 5K in less than 30 minutes. I'll be happy if I finish the bike in an hour and do my 5K in 35 minutes. I'll be satisfied if I just cross the finish line in less than 2 hours. So if you can start to think about, and you know, don't stress about it. If reading these makes you anxious, then don't worry about it. But keep these things in mind, because on race day, things might not go exactly as planned. It might be rainy, it might be cold, it might be windy. Somebody might crash in front of you, and you have to, you know, avoid them, and you pop a tire. There's all kinds of things that can happen that are not in your control that can impact the outcome of your race. So it's nice if you think about some of the things that could go wrong and have a goal that you can be happy with at the end of that. Do either of you have any ideas of what your ABCs might be, or do you need to think about that a little more?
Personally, I just want to, finish the race. So obviously, that would be, I'd be thrilled if I, finished the race. But
Yeah.
when I think about I'd be happy if, kind of maybe they would all be the same. But
Yeah, yeah.
so
Okay.
yeah.
And that's totally fine.
Mhm.
What if you blew a tire
Mhm.
the last mile of your bike? Would you walk
Yeah.
back and then finish the 5K and be happy with that? Or would you say, I did everything and did 22 miles on the bike and I'm happy with that?
No, I mean, I would think as long as I was okay and had the energy, I would try to, push the bike and keep going if they would let me. I didn't know if you would be disqualified or not, but uh, you know.
Ed?
I think, if I use your example, to me, the thrill of it, where I would be absolutely thrilled, like if I had like a flat tire, like I just whip out my repair kit and fix my tire and carry on, right? Like that would be super thrilling. Either way, no matter what happens, I'm happy to be able to do, and I'm just happy to be like training, and I'm happy that, you know, even if I, finish last, I mean, I don't really, it's not immaterial to me. It's
Mhm.
just being able to do this is just thrill enough.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
I
yeah.
like that, Ed. That's awesome. And I know maybe it seems trivial to pull a tire repair kit, but I'm like, would I be just so anxious or, fumbling through it? But yeah, you're right. The ability just to be there is incredible.
Yeah. And to me, in my mind, like I would be anxious about like popping a tire, but so like if I could just like overcome that and just like I can deal with this and fix the flat tire and move on, like that would be like mind blowing for me. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. And those are some things that you gain with race experience, like, oh, well, I never knew that could go wrong.
Mhm.
One of my athletes was doing Ironman Arizona, which is obviously a really hot race. And she ended up getting a flat tire. And there's neutral race support on that course, but she had to wait for a van to come around. And I don't remember how long she waited, but it was a significant amount of time, like 30 or 45 minutes. maybe longer. And in that time, she was just anxious because she had this goal for her bike time. And she realized she was never going to meet that goal. And so she's never not going to meet her race goal. And so she's getting more and more and more anxious and upset about it, which makes it not fun. And because she was spending so much energy on that, she was not hydrating or eating. And so she got behind on nutrition. So she did finish the race. And in retrospect, she realized that during that time that she was waiting, she would have been much better off had she accepted, well, okay, I'm just going to add 30 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever it was, to my target, to my goal. And then I've still met my goal because I just take out the time where I was waiting for the van to give me a spare tire. You know, in Tour de France, the equipment cars are there with a new bike within seconds, you know, at most 2 or 3 minutes. But when you're on a race like that, it could be 30, 40 minutes. So things like that, thinking about what some of the things could happen and what would you be happy with. And you may not know even what to think of until you're in some experiences or until you talk with some people about it. All right, so routine versus willpower. Very few people have enough willpower to just sort of grind through everything that comes up in life and meet every obligation. You can improve your chances of sticking to a plan if you develop a routine. And I purposely chose the word routine and not habit. It takes a long time to form a habit. A couple of weeks ago, I rearranged my the kitchen corner where my coffee maker is and where my medicines and supplements are because it was always kind of a mess and I was always reaching. And I finally realized like I can just move my medicines to the cabinet that's right in front of me instead of reaching across the corner. And my coffee and my tea or my beans and my coffee grinder, everything's right there. So I don't have to reach or look for anything. And it's been probably 2 or 3 months of this. And just the other day, I got up and I went to that corner and I suddenly realized, oh my gosh, this is a habit now. Like I come to that corner and my body's like, okay, reach for this, reach for this, reach for this, instead of, you know, thinking like, oh gosh, I have to do it, or struggling to do it. And it was just a neat little insight. You know, if you can take things like that and create some type of routine around your workouts, like always putting your swimsuit next to your briefcase or, you know, whatever it is, get your swim back ready after dinner, tie it to something that you're already doing. And at first you have to think about it. So it's a little bit like willpower, but it's easier if you attach it to something. Um, and then it can become a routine and eventually it will become a habit. So I really like that one. Um, Doing it with someone else, telling someone else, like Ed, you told a bunch of us what your plan was. So I bet you were not going to skip it because then you'd have to tell all of us that you skipped it. We'd be like, what? And deciding exactly when and where. So Ed, this is like perfectly describes what you've been doing the last several weeks. And then I labeled this mirror card. So if you haven't already done it, you can write your goals on an index card or write it right on your mirror in the bathroom with a wax pencil or lipstick or something like that so that it's something that you see every day. And then when you're busy and, you know, maybe you're feeling down, maybe you have to skip a few days for whatever reason. Sorry, my dogs are activated. um, you know, you can see it and it's there reminding you. If it becomes a stress for you, like if you're not having enough time to train for your Olympic and that goal seems like getting further and further away, that can become a stress. But then maybe it's time to switch your goal and communicate with the race director. Joella, for this race, she'll let people switch up to the day before. You know, she may not like it, but she will. She wants people to race no matter what. She'll never tell someone that they can't do such and such. So if it's motivating, put your goal where you can see it. If it's stressful to you, put it somewhere where, you know, you have to do a little, like open your wallet and read your card to see it or note on your phone or something like that. All right. And that's what I have for mindset for this first week. So any questions or comments or conversation about that stuff?
Dry erase marker works well on your bathroom mirror. That's what I use.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
I should have do that.
that's a good point. I've actually been wanting to go more analog with certain things. Like everything nowadays, like tech, and more. And I'm finding it's like I just want to put a dry erase board in the kitchen, just for simple reminders for the family, or
Mhm.
it's just so easy to. And I love tech. I mean, don't get me wrong, but to some degree, it's like I still have to put in the miles on the bike, or technology is going to help me put the miles in running or something. So
Yeah, I find that with tech, I can get so easily distracted that I never get to what I wanted to do. Like, oh, what is my workout? And I open up Training Peaks or whatever, and then there's Facebook, and it reminds me
mhm.
of something, and it's just easy to sort of spiral